Hello from the other side.
That's far enough, Joker.
Got Batman White Knight. This is number 7 of 8. That's hard to see with that glare on it. There we go.
Batman White Knight number 7. Napier's identity crisis spins out of control and compromises grand plans for Gotham City.
There you go. Batman White Knight reaches its penultimate issue with number 7 of 8 out this week. Sean Murphy has been doing such a great job on this book. Amazing art, such a draftsman, amazing architecture. The way he draws the Batmobiles are awesome, and he draws like every Batmobile, and they're in here too, and it's great. Fantastic artwork, highlighted by beautiful colors from Matt Hollingsworth. He's been doing this for a long time. But the script by Sean Murphy works as well. It's a great exploration in the relationship of Joker and Harley, and Batman and Joker, and a cool, it's a cool take on that dynamic, that Joker-Batman dynamic, by kind of flipping it a little bit, but still telling a quintessential Batman-Joker story. This has been amazing. We are now turning the corner. It's wrapping up. It is amping up, and it is so much fun. I've been loving Batman White Knight, a great Elseworlds tale that is not to miss, absolutely.
Well, yeah, this is Batman. I'm Batman. All right, there's a White Knight, there's a Dark Knight. He's duking it out with like Deathstroke, I think, in another miniseries this week.
Yep, he's everywhere.
Green Lantern, Green Arrow. I'm not talking about any of those. I'm talking about your Thanos. New hardcover Thanos.
In Marvel Land, though, OGN is what they call it.
Yep.
And yeah, thought they would have made some
gangster. OGN. Means original graphic novels for noobs out there.
They have, Lord, I hope this doesn't change. They have matching spine dress, so everything looks really good on the shelf. Like if you had, well, it's really sharp, right? It looks pretty beautiful if you're into that kind of thing. You know, if you're into digital comics, these probably won't appeal to you very much, but for those of us who like the paper element, like, it's nothing like having a chunk of comics, like 2 years worth of comics in your hands.
But anyways, this is a good one because it's the origin of the new Rorschach in this book. So you've got the origin of the new Rorschach, and you got to pay attention to what happens in these books. You've also got Mr. Freeze shows up in just a couple panels. He walks, so Rorschach's in prison in Arkham Asylum, and he walks by Mr. Freeze. So why they're showing Mr. Freeze, I don't know, but obviously he's going to have a role to play in the future. And also Jane Doe, who is turns out to be Saturn Girl, makes an appearance in this book as well. So there's some interesting stuff happening in this series.
The Harlequin bore an uncanny resemblance to a certain Batman villain. A couple of months later, Batman readers were introduced to a new villain, Two-Face. Two-Face's origin story of a district attorney burned in an acid attack closely mimicked that of the Black Bat. Could the villain Two-Face be a commentary on Ned Pines? It's possible. During this time period, publishers didn't hang out together at Comic-Cons. They went to war. And DC National was at war with everyone. Batman creator Bob Kane was also known for his confrontations with industry people. Some accused him of swiping their material, and Kane often accused others of swiping his. Another factor that supports this theory is that Batman villains were partially inspired by real people. For example, the Joker's inspiration was actor Conrad Veidt in the 1922 film The Man Who Laughs.
It's definitely, it's a gripping kind of tale. I really like the personification of the characters, and I really like their character evolution over the entirety of the series. As far as Dean Ormston's art, it's very unique, and it's definitely specific to this Black Hammer book, but it's not anything that's going to keep me from recommending it. It's got a very different style, but it just feels like it works. You know, it feels like it's meant for this particular tale, but that's probably because I've been reading it for a little while. I can understand how some people might not necessarily see it as the most exact or the most precise, but this isn't necessarily the most exact or precise story. It's definitely something that lends itself to a little bit of malleability, a little bit of rough kind of hewn edges, but that's why I really like it.
This expands upon the world of Black Hammer, as it says on the top here, and this time around, I just fell in love with this series. From the first couple of pages, it's just phenomenal artwork. Works so well for the era that they are trying to depict here. And I just love the story. It's so heartwarming and so sad at the same time.
It's an all-new story written by Mark Waid and illustrated by Jack Kirby. So from what I understand, they combed through the Kirby archives to come up with the artwork that this story would be framed around, and you know, that's got me sold. I'm interested in seeing what that's all about, so I'll be picking this one up today. Pro wrestling was actually a big part of this comic, so there we go. Pro wrestling, that's a trope that shows up. Oh my god. Oh, I didn't take a shot for that. I didn't take a okay, so it's 3 shots, isn't it? Oh my goodness. I'm getting sweaty. I love comic books, man. They're just such an interesting medium. You can do so much with them. Okay, let's get back to the story. Hopi says that Maggie doesn't necessarily look super Latina, so she isn't offended by this because she can hide her ethnicity if she feels like pretending she's white. And, you know, Hopi's like, what? Like, who says that I do that or want to do that? Like, why are you being like this? And so they sort of have a little bit of a spat and head their separate ways. And the issue ends with the reveal that Maya took Maggie's coat, but really just so that she could have that picture of Hopi when she was young. So I guess she still has like a crush on them or something. Am I making sense? I've lost track. I'll tell you what though, I mean, I didn't even tell you about half the characters that show up in this that are at least recurring characters. Because it had a large cast. That's a trope. My goodness. Oh my goodness, where did I put my tape? I've completely lost track of the other things I need to get done today. The story's over, no more shots! So, Love and Rockets is a pretty dope comic. I think it helps to show all the different things you can do with comics. That's why, you know, I'll do a lot of superhero stuff. There's a lot of amazing creators that have done superhero comics that I love and respect, but there's also a lot of love in my heart for alternative and indie comics. I'll tell you what's weird. When the story began, Maggie was a mechanic, and her world was like very sci-fi when the stories began. She was in a world with superheroes and robots and spaceships, pretty different than what we just read. Then she would like visit these friends of hers back in the fictional town of, I think it was called Hoppers, California. The brothers that made this grew up in Oxnard, California, so a lot of this is, to a degree, hagiographic. Not autobiographical, but they took stuff from their real life and would incorporate it into these stories. Anyway, you know what? I just realized I'm drunk, I'm feeling good, I could just go on about comics forever, but I gotta just end the video.